Good evening, my audience. George Ondek with the latest edition of George Ondek Show. Tonight, I'm very honored to have an actress with me. So all you viewers out there in Chappaqua, Harrison, Yonkers, Scarsdale, and Peekskill, welcome to Bree Michael Warner, star of stage, screen, and television.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about your acting background.
Sure. So I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio. Kind of made my way from there to Florida, but eventually made it out to California.
Wow.
I went to University of Southern California out in LA, which was amazing, to say the least. And then, I kind of already at that point knew that I wanted to get into the arts, so I did a double major in theater, but also kind of felt like I wanted to have a more well-rounded education, so I went into film business as my double major, which sort of eventually led its way into producing, which I'm actually doing now these days as well. But with acting, I was one of those people that got really lucky. I think quite literally a week out of graduation, I was told, it's like everybody that's getting started. Nobody knows how to break into the business.
Right.
And someone suggested, go do extra work, go be, a background artist. So it's like, okay, I have no idea, that sounds good. I went, and it was one of the first jobs that I did, and just by being at the right place at the right time, literally, I ended up getting picked. They had to reshoot a scene. Apparently they didn't have time to rehire the actress that they had already shot with.
Right.
So they picked me out of the crowd, had the director said, can you say these few lines? I did. He's like, great, you're hired. And I was literally given my SAG card, my Screen Actors Guild card that day. I got something called Taft-Hart Lead, which means that you now have a speaking role, and now you've been invited into the union. So I have to say it was a very blessed opportunity, and that sort of paved the way for everything else.
My acting career got ruined because my wife got sick
No.
when they were shooting Mildred Pierce and Peekskill. I was supposed to be an extra, but I had to be with her, so I gave up my
but
career.
that's a good trade-off,
Yes,
though. Yes, right.
So you've been in a few films too, I hear, and I hear one is up and coming as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, like you were saying, the stage, screen, and television, when I think about it, it's true. I think when I first started, I was really focusing more on television, and so I done everything from CSI Miami, Without a Trace, iCarly, King of Queens, and then eventually kind of transitioned more into films, and I did a film called Officer Down with James Woods and Stephen Dorff.
I think I've heard of that.
Yes, no, it was a great film. I got to play a police officer, a detective in that, which was really kind of funny because eventually life sort of imitated art in the sense that I also do work as an auxiliary police officer. But yes, upcoming, I have a film that's set to start shooting in the summer over here in New York called Eleanor, and I'm excited. It's an independent, but it's this powerhouse of a cast. There's, it's about 20 primary cast members deep, and it sort of takes a look in 24-hour periods of all these different people's lives and how they intersect in New York City, and they're all looking for love and connection. So I think it's a film that a lot of people I think will relate to. So.
Sounds like a great venue you're going to be doing.
Yeah.
But you said you're a person of many hats. Yeah. Many hats.
Exactly.
I also hear you're a host of a talk show similar to mine, but it's on a different subject.
Different. You have beautiful
and
flowers.
This will
My
be
show
surprising.
has guns. I know, right? 'Cause, you look at me, you don't really assume what I'm about to say is true, but no, I mean, you're right. I do wear a lot of hats. So I work as an actor. I actually also do professional work as a photographer.
Wow. What do you photograph?
Mainly, I started off with
weddings.
No, actually bands. I when I first
bands?
started, I sort of fell
like the Grateful Dead or the Rolling Stones.
9 Inch Nails.
I
I sort of fell into that when I was, working a lot as an actor. In between, there's a lot of downtime, as you probably know, in between the arts.
I was just watching a couple of shots of a movie in Peekskill just yesterday.
Yeah, they do a lot
This
of
is
shooting.
being filmed in Peekskill, Cablevision.
Yep.
And we're right down the street from the historic Paramount Theater. We have a Paramount Theater here, and
I know.
they were doing the 1920s scene there, and
That's
it's
awesome.
very interesting to see them in the old costumes and the old cars going by.
And that's a huge
And
undertaking.
people don't realize the amount of work that goes into filming one scene in a movie. It can take all day or
Literally.
2 days.
Usually, on average, most films, you'll shoot roughly about 7 to 8 minutes of what you'd see on screen is pretty much a full day of shooting. When I say full day, that's usually roughly about 12 hours of film time.
Wow.
Sometimes a little longer, a little less, but more or less, usually, it takes a lot to go into filmmaking, and I think that I love that aspect of it, and I think that's why I love as an actor also doing producing, because I kind of get to see it from both sides. And then being a photographer, like I said, I mainly shoot bands, but on occasion I've done portraits for magazines and things like that. And I kind of have my eye is always looking for not just the subject matter, but the story that I'm trying to tell. So I think as a filmmaker, they all sort of feed into each other. So all these hats that I wear, they all kind of blend into one sort of vision.
But I don't think you should wear any hats at all. Your hair is beautiful the way it
you.
is. Don't cover it up.
Thank you. Yeah, I know it's been funny, and like you said, the most recent.
Have you been into modeling as well? Have you been a Miss America
I have
or
not done.
Miss
Well,
Ohio?
actually, take that back. When I was in high school, I got a little into the pageant scene, very briefly. I can't really say that it was my cup of tea,
Yeah.
but it did lend itself. I mean, I'm pretty petite. I'm about 5'2" on a good day, so runway stuff really not in my bag of tricks. But
How about high school plays? I just saw a high school play, and that's darling. It's way better almost than going to Broadway. The cost is much lower, and you
That's true.
you see people who are really good high school kids.
There's a lot. I mean, I have to say, I went to a high school that was sort of a new charter school when I lived in Orlando, Florida, and our theater program was fantastic. Like we had some pretty big budget, productions, and the staging, the costuming, and the performances. I mean, a lot of the folks I know continue to do a lot of theater in Orlando, a lot of the local touring shows, things like that. But no, I definitely got involved. I mean, I think my first play, I was about 5 years old.
Who'd you play, Cinderella
I played
or
a lamb.
Snow White?
No, I played a
lamb.
lamb. It was part of the Christmas pageant, for Christmas Eve, and I played a little lamb.
Oh, that's cute. My wife and I love little lambs. We go to farms upstate. We were just one in Monticello yesterday.
Oh, okay.
After our Mother's Day celebration.
Oh, that's lovely. Very, very
So
nice.
it sounds like you have a very, you have a philosophy similar to what I believe in. That if you reach for a star, you might hit the moon or Mars.
Yes.
If you don't take a chance in life, you don't get.
Absolutely.
And you've been you're a movie actress. You're a production person. You're a
kind of like a jack of all trades. Well, I remember seeing there was this great film called Big Fish, and it was a story about a father-son, and the father was sort of in the midst of passing away, and the son was rekindling that relationship that he sort of was estranged for so long. And the film is told from the perspective that the son always thought that his father had these kind of grandiose stories that weren't real. He thought his dad was constantly embellishing on what he accomplished in his life, only to find out that the dad was actually telling the truth the whole time, and he just happened to live this very fantastical existence. And that film, I think, always impacted me, because I always thought on my deathbed, like, I want to be able to look back and say that I did everything that I ever wanted to do. I never left a stone unturned, and that I'm constantly looking for the next adventure. I think, when I first started as an actor, everything in my world was so much about being an actor, and I thought that was my one story. And then as I started to grow, I realized that each of us has so many different passions and interests, and I don't know if we always give ourselves permission to explore those.
Why do so many people live in a box?
I don't know. I don't.
9 to 5 box,
I don't
commuting
know.
back and forth on
Well,
a train, and never taking a chance in
There's
life.
safety in that, I think. That's what I would imagine. And I guess I've always sort of been somebody that I credit, I have a great family that's always been very supportive.
Supportive.
So, I think that had a lot to do with it, because I could take chances and risks, and always knew I had a soft place to land, but it kind of empowered me to just, I don't know, just get my wings and go fly.
I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky.
Yes. He's serenading us.
And there's a famous person, a political person, who says, yes, I can. When other people say, it can't be done, can't be done. Yes, I can. It's a good philosophy in life.
Absolutely.
If people want to see a couple of the movies you've been in, what's the names of them? And do they ever play on HBO, or what's that, Netflix?
Yeah,
I think it is?
Officer Down, definitely. I know it's
yes.
on demand, and I know it's on
On
Netflix.
demand.
Yep.
You're on demand.
I am
I
on
hear.
demand, and
I can see you winning the Academy Award someday
is a
as
goal.
Best Actress or Supporting Actress.
Well, thank you. That is
Or
a goal.
actor. How's that?
Actor. Yeah, I never really, people always ask me like actress, actor, and I guess I've never differentiated because most things in the arts, whether you're a musician, a painter, any of these other things, it's just the one. There's no gender specific. So I guess with actor, I always sort of adopted, I'm an actor. Like,
I find it fascinating shooting a movie. I was on a set for a week with Nicolas Cage, Bridget Fonda, and Rosie Perez about the waitress in Yonkers who got a $3 million tip, and it's a true story,
I know,
too.
isn't that crazy?
It was at Sal's Pizzeria in Yonkers, and the detective kept his word. He told the waitress, I'll give you half of the lottery ticket. She accepted as her tip, and it won that night, and he gave her $3 million.
that's awesome.
And then I saw another set many years ago when I was young with Jackie Gleason and Paul Newman
What film is
shooting a pool scene. It was a very famous picture. I forgot the name of it.
Oh, wow. I'm
but,
trying to think.
All
great actors.
It's an interesting life. But people think that it's easy to act. I mean, like you just said, you can shoot 2 days to get 8 minutes of film,
Yeah,
and that's what builds the cost up a lot.
Yeah,
too.
well, and I think just beyond that, it's, I tell actor friends that are just starting, or maybe they've kind of been doing it for a little bit, but they're sort of getting to that breaking point. Most people don't do a profession that you go into a job interview almost on a daily basis and are told no, for whatever reason, whether it's about you, what you look like, your abilities or lack thereof. So it can be very heavy weighing on someone's just spirit. I mean, it can be kind of soul crushing, to be honest, sometimes. And I think, that's why having a lot of different interests and just persevering, I call it the career of the last man standing, because you just have to keep persevering through it. And I think having that mentality, that mindset is sort of why I've been able to do all the different things that I've been doing, because I don't give up. I think you get so conditioned to just keep fighting the fight, and you count your blessings when they come. And when I get to work, it's amazing. And I look at the ups and downs, and now I'm, as you mentioned earlier, like I'm hosting a TV show, and that kind of came about at a time when I thought I was in a little bit of a valley, and then it just sort of appeared. So you just never know what's around the corner.
You never know, right?
You don't.
So will we be hosting the Michael and
Oh,
what's
yeah,
her
the
name
new
show? I
morning
hear they're going to
show.
be needing two new people
it's so
here.
sad. But,
It is kind of sad.
It's and it's always been a great show. I mean, I grew up with, Regis Philbin, like as a child, and watching that with
He
my
was
grandma.
great. Just reading the newspaper was
Yeah.
interesting with him.
It was funny.
I don't like this policy in big-time TV that if you get a little old or a little gray hair, they got to replace you with a younger person.
Well, I don't know. I mean, was it that, or was he just kind of ready to try something new?
I think they should put another cable network on with all the old-time hosts who've been
You should
fired.
find out who's casting it.
Well, I wouldn't be interested. I'm too young, I'm 30.
Oh,
I'm
yes. Oh, there,
39,
yes.
right? Plus.
Yeah, well, you can add a little gray.
I'm still looking for the first thing I'm going to do next in life. I may go back to college. I may take some arts classes.
I think you should. I'm always
may
an advocate.
take some photography classes up.
It's fun. You gotta, reinvent
Life
yourself.
is fun, and people who don't live it, it's kind of sad. So,
yeah, I guess
who are some of the famous actors and actresses you've played with?
Oh my goodness. Well, like I said, the first ones that come off the top of my head is James Woods, who was, first of all, he is such an interesting guy. Most people don't know he's a genius. Like, he literally is Mensa level genius. And our first day on set, you know, he was talking about, you know, just the mathematics that all the kids at MIT that got in trouble for card counting in Vegas.
Oh yes.
And it's just the stuff that he can rattle off. It's just, I mean, I guess when you get on a set, you never know what the relationships, the dynamics are going to be like. And never in a million years would I imagine getting on a set and like getting the mathematical like statistician that's going to basically give us the information on counting cards. But
mentioning Vegas, isn't that a fabulous place? I've been there once.
No, it's fun.
In the first 5 minutes, I won $5,000 on slot machine. We stayed at the Mirage, or
that's awesome.
The one where the earthquakes go off every half hour.
The Mirage, yeah.
And we were like in Rome, going around in the gondola. So it's beautiful there.
That's great. I think the person that left that slot machine was probably a little disappointed.
I don't know.
Because they walked away from it.
But the funny part about it, I throw my wife in again. She said, George, we're just checking into the hotel, cash that machine out, and don't you be gambling. So I hit max on it, and all of a sudden, jackpot.
Wow.
So wasn't that nice?
Oh, I bet she heard it.
So a lot of big stars appear. Have you ever appeared in Las Vegas yet?
No, I haven't. I mean, I know they do a lot of shows there.
How about singing or dancing? Do you do that? There's another area.
It is another area. Both of my parents, actually, my mother and my dad.
Hoofers, huh?
Well, no, they're fantastic singers. My dad still sings in a rock band.
Really? What? Is it a famous rock band?
No, they're a local band, but they actually, a lot of people know them locally.
I'll have to get them booked for local weddings around here.
Great. No, they have a residency at a couple local hotspots in Cleveland, and my mother sang opera, did a lot of musical theater when I was a kid.
You keep mentioning Ohio and Cleveland. Are you glad you left Ohio? Why, oh, why, oh, did I leave Ohio? What's out there, snow?
Well, it's no different than New York.
It isn't Times Square?
Well, I think Ohio, when I left at such an early age, so I didn't really get to see a lot of it, to be honest, or at least my recollection. But then when I've gone back now, you know, it's funny. I think when I was in my 20s, the idea of it sounds so just out in, you know, suburbs, and it's very rural. Whereas now, as I've gotten older, it's kind of nice. The idea of space,
back to a quiet,
and, you know, grassland.
How did you like Florida? You said you lived in Orlando. Isn't that where Disney is?
Yes. Disney does own like half the state, I think.
And Donald Trump owns the other half.
Yes, exactly.
West Palm Beach with his yacht, that's a block and a half long.
It's a good yacht. Florida was actually really great, because I think for me, when I moved there, I was in middle school, high school area, and I kind of sort of got to reinvent myself. I think that was, you know, I grew up, to be honest, I was kind of bullied a bit when I was a kid.
Oh, I was too.
And it's tough. I mean, that's a really hard. It's hard on children, and we didn't have social media back then, so I can't even imagine it now. But when I moved to Florida, it was an opportunity for me just to kind of go, all right, so I don't need to hear, you know, the voices of those kids anymore. Like, who do I want to be? And, you know, again, I think that kind of fed into being an actor, and just knowing that you can constantly reinvent yourself and find things that, you know, don't define yourself by what other people have sort of labeled you. So, and Florida, for me, for that reason, was spectacular, because I really got to explore what I wanted to do and kind of got more into the arts.
And that's where you got your roots in acting, in high school.
Yeah, and I had teachers that were just really encouraging of it, and, you know, for every time that you'd hear the statistic of how many or how few really actors actually succeed, I had just as much, if not more, encouragement from them of, you got to give it a try, just go for it, and I did. I mean, at 18, I
Were you
went to
ever
California.
shy in your life? Were you always as outgoing?
No, I was the kid.
Because I have a little story to tell you too.
No, I was the little kid that like would hide behind my mother's leg and, you know, pull her shirt and be like, tell him what my name is. Like, I was horrifically shy as a kid.
It's shocking for me to be doing this cable talk show.
Were you really shy?
I was the most shyest boy in school. And when I was a little kid, I would hide behind my mother too, because people would make fun of me and
Aw.
say, Georgie, Porgy, Puddin' Pie, kissed the girls and made them cry. And
Kids
I
are
was
kinda
very
mean.
embarrassed. I was bullied. And my metamorphosis happened in college when I had to take a speech class.
Oh, that'll do
And
it.
you have to get up in front of the class in order to get a good grade. And I would never talk in class. I wasn't social. Although I went to a school where there were 900 girls and only 100 guys.
What kind of school was that? That's bizarre.
Commercial high school.
Oh, wow.
Because I wasn't going to college at the time.
Okay.
And very shy. And
Well, how'd you do in your class?
pretty good.
Okay.
I met the girl that I married, and we've been married
That's a good
53
class.
years.
Wow.
And
That's awesome. That's
I
a
was
good
shy.
story. See, and you wouldn't
Maybe
have met
she
your
picked
wife if
me
you
up.
weren't shy.
But it's good to be outgoing. And again, our message tonight is to reach for the stars. You may become a star, right? But if you never try, you don't get.
You don't get. And I think you have to learn to define success by your own definition. And it's very easy. I do it myself. I'm guilty of it. But it's very easy to sort of compare yourselves with other people's careers. And you can't. You just have to, your level of success is how much you're putting into it. If you know that you've given it your all, that is all that's expected of you.
What is it like to be on the red carpet? You told me you've experienced
Nerve-wracking,
that.
actually. I mean, for women at least.
To prepare for it
Well, you have to,
and
you know,
dress, and you know you're going to be analyzed by the world, not just
Exactly.
America, the world.
No, it's true. There's a lot that goes into it.
And is there a lot of competition between all the women who looks the best? And,
yes. Well, even with wardrobe, like if you have people that are pulling, like publicists that are pulling wardrobe, like outfits for you, there'll be certain designers that will only want to dress certain people, and then you can't have a conflicting outfit or the same designer.
Wow.
Like there's a lot of politicking that
a lot of
happens.
cattiness,
Yes,
right?
but no, I mean, red carpets are fun. I actually got to do one a couple years ago. I had a film that I was acting and also producing that was at the Tribeca Film Festival. And, you know, that was awesome to be in that festival as a, you know, a filmmaker and get to experience that. But no, it was totally nerve-wracking because you know, you go down these red carpets that are huge with all the different media outlets, and you're doing interviews, and you have to quickly learn about good sound bites because that's a huge thing. You have to sort of learn how to kind of navigate that and get it all in very quickly and look good at the same time. So it's very stressful.
And do you have your own trailer where people come and make you up? And
No,
you
but I
get
did
your
have
own
people
special
come to
food
my
and all that?
apartment, yes, because, you know, it's
Because
just,
we just had that with the film that filmed here right outside. There must have been 30 trailers there, and I noticed all the stars go to their
Oh, yes.
trailer. They have their makeup done there. They have special food
Yep.
brought in for them.
it takes a village.
It takes a village.
Even on an individual basis on a red carpet, it takes a village to just get that going. But
So what are your future plans?
well, right now I've got a couple things. You know, I'm hosting this program called Gun TV, which
Gun TV.
totally
Gun TV.
Gun TV. I know, and I'm like 95 pounds.
And we must mention your other half, or your
Yes,
I won't
yes.
say your better half, your other half.
No, well,
you're
that's-
equal
that's
in
how
today's world.
Yeah, well, that's
And
how
what does he do for a living?
He works as a police officer,
And-
but he also does firearms training, which is how
which is
I
very important. Safe firearms
yes.
training.
Well, and that's, you know, why I'm a huge proponent of, you know, being a responsible gun owner and kind of investing in your safety, investing in training, because it is important. It's like
Yes.
anything. And that's kind of how I, you know, fell into this. I was not a kid that grew up around guns at all. I wouldn't say that I had a fear of them. I was always kind of interested or somewhat curious, but never had an outlet for that. And then when we started dating, I think it was our 4th date, ended up going to the range. I'm sure it kind of started as, oh, let's see if she likes this. It might be just, you know, it's a new relationship. And I actually ended up loving it.
Are you a marksman, an expert, or a sharpshooter?
I would consider I'm in my direction of being a precision shooter. I I'm very much, there's always a balance of speed versus accuracy. I can't say that I love shooting with shot timers. These are things that we use, tools that kind of get you to shoot quickly. But I much rather do some precision shooting.
It gives you a feeling of empowerment when you're shooting.
It does, and that's, I actually started in the midst of all this, I started a blog called Tactigal that was, I kind of speak to a wide audience, but I really do want to speak specifically to women in many regards, because I do think that women oftentimes, they sort of put themselves in a very victim mindset, and I would love to encourage them and empower them to be more conscious of self-defense, situational awareness.
Very
even
important.
though, and I, look, I'm
police officers learn that, Army people learn that, and the regular civilians in the world we're living in today have to know how to protect themselves.
Absolutely, and it doesn't, although I enjoy firearms, and I'm actually in the process, like I'm starting to do firearms instruction myself. But I always tell people, if that's not where your comfort level is, there's nothing that mandates that. But at least have some form of defense, whether it's a bladed weapon or things like that. But
I was amazed last night. I was at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, and the security they had there, men with assault weapons.
Well, these are targets,
but
unfortunately.
actually, I felt protected.
Good.
In today's world, you need that with the nuts we have out there in other countries that want to do evil to us.
Yeah, and especially in sporting events, things like that. They do become targets in a lot of regards.
Because of the shock value in the news they can generate from that. But we don't want to be just talking about guns. Let's get back to your acting career. So, Eleanor, when will it be released? Did you start filming yet?
No, we are scheduled. They're in pre-production right now, so that basically means they're getting all the permits, all the locations scouted, things like that. And we're set to start shooting this summer. I think they're looking at a mid-June start date. But it should be, it should be a huge undertaking, to be honest, because like I said, it's a big cast. We're shooting all in the most popular spots of New York City, which is not an easy task.
How are spots picked? Like, I know Peekskill gets picked once in a while, and my old home city of Yonkers, they look for a specific setting. Right?
Yeah, no, I think it's whatever is, kind of conducive to that script, and a lot of times locations becomes a bit of part of the storyline in itself. It's its own character.
But Bree Warner.
What was that?
Bree Warner.
Oh, Bree Michael Warner?
Michael Warner.
Yes.
You've been a fabulous guest. I can't believe how the time has flown by. Do you have anything to say to my vast audience in closing? If there's a contact number or website you want to be reached at, give it to them.
Yeah. No, my website, I've got a website, it's breewarner.com. I also have my blog, which is tactigalnyc.com. Both of those places, I'm pretty good about doing updates. I'm on all social media platforms, so you can find me on Facebook at Bree Michael Warner, or on Instagram, which is at Bree Warner. So it's pretty easy.
So once again, I thank you for being on the George Ondek Show.
Thank you for having me.
A very great guest. We've been honored tonight to have an actress on the show, Bree Warner. I'm getting terrible.
No, it's fine. I have too many names. I have 3 names. It's
And get out and see her show. Go to Eleanor when it comes out. Get on Netflix. See the previous shows, and we look forward to seeing you in a couple of months again on the George Ondek Show. I hope you've enjoyed it tonight.
I had a blast.
And I want to be on with your husband, do an outdoor shoot at his rifle range, and he's going to reteach me how to shoot an M16 again. I haven't shot one in 45 years.
You'd enjoy it.
Okay. Till next time, folks, be happy, shoot for the stars, and you will be a star like my guest was tonight.
Thank you.